So a few weeks ago, Thomas and I were wandering around the neighborhood and we stumbled upon a garage sale, or rather, maybe it was more of a stoop sale, but they were selling this book. This is an old version of the Tartine cookbook. Tartine is a very beloved bakery in San Francisco, and when I looked inside, the first recipe was for croissants. I have always wanted to try making croissants, but it's always been very intimidating. It just seems like one of those really finicky pastries that's really hard to nail. I will say that seeing this on the side of the road for very cheap and seeing the first recipe in it made me feel like this was as good of a sign as any that life would ever give me to nudge me into finally just trying to do it. So that's what we're gonna do today. So to begin, we are going to make a pre-ferment, which I definitely thought was pronounced preferment before looking it up. In a bowl, combine warm non-fat milk, active dry yeast, and all-purpose flour. Mix that all up until it begins to form a nice and smooth batter. Cover it up and let it sit somewhere warm and cozy for 2 to 3 hours to rise.
Hélas, avril en vint me voue à l'amour. J'avais envie de voir en vous cet amour.
As suggested by the book, gather and measure all of the ingredients before moving to the next step, which is combining our well-rested pre-ferments with more yeast. After that's all well combined, begin to incorporate half of the milk. The batter gets a bit weird here, so just take your time and make sure to mix it well. Once that's all settled, slowly mix in flour and sugar and salt until the mixture comes together. It took me quite a while of just incrementally adding flour, then sugar, then milk, then mixing with my hands, and then repeating it all over again until I ran out of ingredients. Don't forget to also add that melted butter as well. In hindsight, I probably should have used a stand mixer, but I've never been known to be a neat baker, so here we are, using our hands. Oh my god, look. It's alive! Wow. Oh my god. Okay, so the book says to lightly flour a work surface, transfer the dough to that surface, press it into a rectangle of about 2 inches thick, wrap it in plastic wrap, then put it in the fridge to chill for 4 to 6 hours. It's about 10 p.m. now. Just got home. Still need to do that last step for the croissant dough. At this point, I was really tired, and because I didn't carefully read the instructions beforehand, I was taken by surprise when I realized there was another 4 hours ahead of me to complete this phase. Whew. To start, we have to get our block of butter prepared by softening it until it is malleable. Then, the most arduous part of this entire process, the lamination. First, roll out the chilled dough into a rectangle. This took me forever, and I couldn't quite get it to the specified size. What the fuck? That's huge! 28 by 12? Jeez. My rolling tool was a bit lacking. After that, spot 2/3 of the dough with our butter. Fold the dough over itself like a letter, and then roll it out to 28 by 12 inches again. Fold the dough in the same manner again, then wrap it in plastic wrap and place it back into the fridge for 2 hours to relax the gluten before doing the third and final fold. However, at this point in the night, it was already 2 a.m. and I was so tired that I decided to just wake up early the next morning and finish it up. With this process, we're trying to get thin layers of butter and dough that will help make the pastry just the right amount of flaky and buttery. So once again, we are going to roll it out, fold it up, and then place it back in the fridge to rest. Good morning. Happy croissant day. These layers look pretty dang good, I think. Maybe. It's hopeful. There's hope. So it's been about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours now, and the croissants have just been rising. There are still a few things I am a bit worried about, but I did try my best and I think it might be okay still. Maybe the texture will be off, but we'll see. Just looking at them right now in their final rise here, they did grow in size, but some of the pieces of dough split. The butter is a little bit warm right now, so I do wonder how that will affect the flakiness of the pastry. All there is left to do now is get some egg wash on these and pop them into the oven for how long? Even the baking phase is really complicated. How is nothing easy with this? I'm sitting here in front of the oven watching the croissants cook, and I'm getting really sad because the butter is starting to spill out and I don't know what went wrong. I'm wondering if I should have put it in the fridge again. It smells amazing right now though. It just, I don't know, I'm getting a little bit discouraged. Oh, time to turn the croissants! Okay, they're not perfectly brown, but it's been the allotted time frame and I think I should just take it out.
À votre avis, qu'avons-nous vu de l'amour? De vous à moi, vous m'avez eu, mon amour.
I give it a 3 out of 10.
Déplaise en dansant la javanaise. Nous aimions le temps d'une chanson.
Well, I mean, at least it looks like a croissant. I think it has some of those nice layers that we're familiar with. It got a decent browning, at least on the bottom, but it's just a little bit dense. Clearly it was very demanding in terms of time and energy. And I'm just proud that I finally did it. And maybe one day I will attempt to do this again and maybe it'll be perfect and beautiful. I had to mess this batch up in order to get to my perfect croissant in the future. So that's how I'm going to choose to see it. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
This is good.
What?
What do you mean it doesn't taste good?
It does, I don't know, it just doesn't taste good.
I think it tastes a little bit more biscuity.
Yeah, it's more biscuity than croissanty.